No matter who you are or where you live, if your passion is hunting, then make your dreams come true. Join us on a great safari and adventure as we traverse 5 continents in search of world's finest hunting trophies. Join the best professional hunters in the world in search for the best trophy animals. You will experience unforgettable hunting adventures and international cultures that few people on Earth get to know. Share the thrill of the ultimate challenge to promote the sustained use of world's greatest renewable resources, wildlife conservation, and fair chase hunting. Feel the excitement, share the passion, join the experience of the ultimate adventure that this world has to offer. Let safari season take you there.
On today's episode of Safari Season, we would accompany our highly respected and former president of Safari Club, the bowhunter Gary Bogner. An exceptional erudite, a person of faith, and a hunter by heart. At the very beginning of the world, the Creator, while creating the seas, continents, and distributing the rivers, lakes, and forests throughout the earth, took aside the best pieces for himself, and after he ended his heavenly weekly program, he placed all the selected parts at one place. There were high mountains with crystal clear lakes, golden sands disappearing in the azure sea. And in order not to feel lonely, he inhabited the surrounding lands with handsome, talented craftsmen, whom he revealed the secret of metal processing and showed them how to extract gold. These were the lands of the ancient Thracians, the destination of today's mountainous hunt in Bulgaria. We would be hunting roebucks and ibexes in the Balkan way that the ancient Thracians and Bulgarians did, with bow and arrow. This is a worthy successor of the hunting traditions that was twice president of the large hunting organization worldwide, Safari Club International, and it's one of the most prominent wildlife protectors. Hunting roebucks with bow and arrows is not an easy thing to do. The secretive animals are exceptionally cautious, and only a few hunters were successful in shooting the trophy down this way. Rain is the hunter's worst companion because it makes animals easily frightened. But in our case, the noise made by raindrops onto the tree leaves could cover up the hunters moving in the forest. This is hunting. Sometimes you get only one chance, and should you miss it, you'll be left with empty hands. Nevertheless, to the real hunter, the outcome is not important. What matters is the very experience, the thrill of meeting wild inhabitants. This time, Gary didn't miss his chance. The blood drops prove that undoubtedly. Gary was lucky enough to stalk and even hit a roebuck, but should the hunter and his hunting guide not find it rapidly, the chances were to be washed away by the first drops of the approaching downpour. It is not by chance that the saying goes that luck backs up the headstrong and hard-working ones. Probably the wise man who figured out that proverb didn't mean exactly this, but in our case, we didn't have much choice but to bring an end to the tracking, even if that meant going out for a bloodhound.
This is a lot of blood, he said.
Is what?
Lot of blood.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
Rain and thunder are not the only threat that can endanger people amidst the falling dusk. For more than 5 years, hunting bears in Bulgaria has been forbidden, thanks to the European Union, and during that period the bears' numbers in the otherwise overcrowded wooded massifs of Stara Planina had doubled. The registered attacks by bears to the surrounding villages increased with every passing year, and the overpopulated habitat and the absence of food on several occasions forced the otherwise harmless brown bears to rely on a meat diet and become meat-eating. The region in which Gary was hunting then was quite notorious for the grievous bear attacks.
Big.
We got pretty good blood. I'd say we didn't go more than maybe down that hill. 100 meters, maybe, but pretty thick and pretty steep. And there's a fair amount of blood. And the last blood's at a little teeny pond. And the guide knows that pond. So now we're going to give a call back to the lodge and see if a couple of guys can come out and give us a hand, because it's been thundering and we're afraid rain's coming. And I agree with the guide. There's enough blood. It looks like it's hit pretty solid, even if it's hit on the leg, like he thinks it is, but he's not sure. He's standing right in line with the bush. And time's going to tell. Time's going to tell. Hopefully we'll know before this evening is over. Cross my fingers. Well, here we are again. You missed a little bit of the episode. We had to leave the forest last night in the dark with the thunder and rain around us, and we could not find one of the guides with the dog. So our master guide said, let's go back to the lodge, but he was not happy. He went and found the young man with the dog and went clear back 50 minutes back up to the mountain and went back to the little pond where we talked last night, and he didn't go maybe 30 meters from where we had stopped. Isn't that incredible? 30 meters more, that's how thick the brush was. And the deer had expired. There it was. And he brought it out in the middle of the night last night, tired and wore out, and didn't come to my room and wake us up. And this morning we were getting dressed and ready to go hunting. They come and told me that we didn't have to go look for the deer, that they had him. And I hope you can see this is probably one of Europe's most sought after deer, is the roe deer. They're so much smaller than all the other deer in the world. There are a few, a hog deer and a deer in, I forget the name in England, but they are very secretive and they're very quick and they're very, very difficult to do with a bow. They don't come to feed. You have to kind of spot and stalk, so you can't use a stand. This is my first one. I've missed a couple of them over the years, and it was about, 56 yards. And the shot was well, and the arrow actually was stuck in the animal, sticking out both sides like this. And that's why we never found the arrow broken off or anything in our tracking. I would say that the whole distance probably wasn't more than 100 meters to what he traveled and where he expired. I'm just so appreciative, and it shows what the pH and the use of a dog, 30 meters in that brush, and there he was. I certainly want to thank Sonny and Nikki here for a great experience.
I'd like to congratulate him on the nice shot.
The Meister. Okay.
In order to show you how difficult hunting roebuck is in the thick forest of the Balkan to the bow hunter, let us mention a single fact. That trophy ranked third in the trophy book of Safari Club, and in addition to it, there were several other hunters that were lucky enough to shoot down such a trophy with bow and arrow. Gary's next possible goal would be a huge wild boar or a deer. Under cover of the hunting hide's roof, it would have been more convenient to observe the animals during the forthcoming rain. The only animal that dared coming out while it was raining was a minor wild piglet that could be of no interest to the hunter. Hence, during the temporary calmness, Gary and the hunting guide decided to change the hunting hide. The old boar Gary was waiting for didn't appear at the new hunting hide once again. Hence, the hunter decided to let the young piglets eat calmly the sweet corn while he was about to celebrate the bad weather with a glass of red wine nearby at the fireplace in the lodgings.
And 2/8. Okay, that's 12, that's 13. My first roe deer, and I got it in Bulgaria, and it SEI scores 49 3/8, and it was an exciting hunt.
Let us leave for a while Gary's hunt in Bulgaria and go just southwards to Turkey to see whether it is possible for a bow hunter to approach close enough a Bezoar ibex. The reason for leaving Bulgaria in order to hunt that ibex is that in Bulgaria that species got extinct hundreds of years ago. Hence, the only close place to our destination of today is located in the Taurus Mountains in Turkey.
You see them? No, they are all dead. They are all dead. No. Another small one.
They are at the same place.
Big animal, that's twice as much. I can shoot. No, I know. No, I don't want to.
How big do you think it is?
150. Maybe 120, more or less.
Yes.
I guess 120.
Hunting Bezoar ibexes is almost impossible to the bow hunter because of the terrain features here. From the Taurus Mountain in the Mediterranean region, where we are now, to the Mercan Mountains in eastern Anatolia, as far as to the Kashgar Mountains in the Black Seaside area, the region inhabited by the Bezoar ibex stretches. This ibex has the longest horns globally compared to the size of its body. Additionally, it is the most handsome amongst all the ibex species, with a horn length of around 55 inches. That is why Gary was enchanted by the idea to acquire such a trophy, but the task was exceptionally difficult to a bow hunter. The shortest distance at which the ibexes could be stalked is not less than 80 to 120 meters. That is an almost unthinkable distance for producing a bow shot, and only 1 or 2 hunters worldwide could have done it. Hence, Gary and the hunting guide's task was almost beyond their strength. The only chance they stood was if backed by loads of luck for some animal to prove in the right place at the right time. Nevertheless, to this end, it took lots of patience and consistency on behalf of the hunter and his guides. Now it is the right time to get to know the rich hunting history of the American hunter. Gary Bogner is the emblematic name in the bow hunter's world. Two-time president of the Safari Club International, he has been for more than 50 years an international ambassador of bow hunters worldwide. He boasts with almost all possible awards for his achievements in hunting and his efforts in the area of species preservation. Now he is here to make sure with his own eyes of the real results achieved by the local hunting organization in conserving the ibexes, thanks to the money coming from the shooting licenses.
Wait. If you go a little up, no problem. But only down. If it goes this way, 100 feet.
That's not what we call something different.
He ran. Don't move. How is out? How is he out? How much?
Very nice one. 110 maybe more.
Gary inclusive that the shot would be at the limit of the bow's technical capacities, and even though he was reluctant to confess it, at the limits of human capabilities for a bow hunter. Hence, Gary decided to check the precision of his bow at 50 and 70 meters.
It's okay. Okay. I cannot, I'm telling you right now, if that's where the animals are staying.
You know, for example, like there, not first here, second here, near there. We can try to get closer.
Yes, but I cannot climb up in that rock face.
Yeah? No, just
I can see that ridge. I call that a ridge.
Like
It's a
this,
finger.
maybe left side, you know.
In the
Not
trees
up,
there?
After the cliff, to the left.
Yeah. I have 60-meter pin.
I heard you shot one animal 90 meters.
Yes.
I heard when you was a young.
I shot I shot the Marco Polo at about 60 meters. I shot a stone sheep at 90 meters. I shot a doll sheep at 70 meters. I shot a elk at 80 meters.
Good size for wow.
You know,
Good man.
that's when I was young,
Yeah.
young man,
Right at it.
young man.
The hard task that was almost beyond Gary's strength was about finding an accessible and convenient bow shooting location for a big adult trophy animal that was already beyond the active procreation age. That trophy would be his prize for the numerous hours invested in attempts to prove the hundreds of government clerks the benefits provided by the hunting community.
Did you get the mail?
Yeah, I can see him. Why he's white? Why he's white?
Yes, he's white.
But why?
Because male.
Okay. That's Gary's one.
He's come out.
Oh. How we can get there? How far is it?
Come out behind the bushes.
Yes, I can see him. Wonderful. Yes. Great.
The ibex was perfect, and it was heading along the pathway of the rocky niche that was going to be at about 50 meters beneath us. Should Gary be lucky, this is the time to show it. Obviously, luck was not backing him, because some moments after the male headed in our direction, a female jumped out from the same place, and everybody knew where the male ibex would prefer going. "165 meters to the tree behind it. That was too far for a bow shot, but if Gary were a simple carbine hunter, it would have proven to be a piece of cake. To Gary's great dissatisfaction, the handsome ibex was beyond the bow's reach. Gary was really sorry that he was limited with the bow's range only to half the distance to where the animal was located. Its coloring was stunningly beautiful. During the rut season, male's fur is colored in magnificent black and white pattern just like the one of the trophy animal at the rocks in front of us. This species is being hunted in 12 different hunting territories from November to March, but here was one of the most convenient places throughout Turkey for a bow hunter. Despite the ibex's move at between 700 and 1500 meters above sea level, the hunting fields in the southern part of the Taurus are covered with shrubs and pine and fir trees, and forests that have an alpine climate, just like the ones to 2,500 meters in central and eastern Anatolia. Hence, hunting here is much more accessible and is really no worse than the other regions in some aspects. No matter how close the animals were, the distance to the trophy ibex inevitably remained double the bow's capacities with which Gary was here. Despite the difficulties and the task that was seemingly beyond Gary's strength, yet the hunter didn't want to give up and kept on trying out each opportunity. The chances of some female to start walking onto the rocky terraces and approach us should not be underestimated. With the speed with which ibexes jumped from rock to rock and ran above cliffs and abysses, it would take them not more than 2 minutes to get within Gary's bow range. This hunting required as much physical preparation as psychic stability and patience. It was only up to Gary to wait for his stellar moment, but we will see that in the next episode. Now let us get back to Bulgaria to see how Gary's hunting ended there. After the nearly 2 days tour of the Balkan, Gary was ready to choose his next trophy animal, and indeed his eyesight stopped onto a quite elderly fallow deer with large and massive antlers. They'd followed the animal through one of the mountainous passages and knew relatively precisely where to look for it. It is well proven that fallow deer get attached to their habitats, do not change them unless there is a food shortage or when looking for females during the rut season. Even though they knew where the fallow deer usually goes, stalking it inside the bald forest seemed impossible without the cover-up of leaves and shrubs. These animals are exceptionally careful and get easily frightened, and the only chance the bow hunter stands when it comes to approaching a fallow deer is during the mating period. Nevertheless, we were not there during that season, and Gary had to try with something else, for example, like a masking tent. This has its advantages and disadvantages. The good thing about it was that Gary could prove close to the fallow deer without it rushing away in a panic. The bad thing about these tents is that it takes animals time to get used to them before turning into effective cover-up of the hunter. Until the fallow deer we were looking for got used to the tent stretched next to the usual game pathway, Gary decided to transfer his hunting skills to another animal.
Hole is going to be 2 inches big through there. I couldn't see it. I could not see it.
The shot had fallen too low and the wound was about to kill the mouflon, but until then it would have run far away and the hunter would have to say goodbye to the trophy to the favor of wolves.
I'm so happy being here and so excited. I got to get it under control.
Yeah.
The emotion, the buck fever is just... But we don't want to get the sheep all wound up and running hard and fast away. We want him to get sick so we can find him and recover him much easier. They do a good job, very good job. They know how to hunt.
Трябва да го.
Чакал сте вие
Lots of soft foods in there.
Трофей ли търся?
With the dog's help, Gary once again had a trophy almost lost. Now let us see one of the hardest to hunt representatives of the high mountainous inhabitants in Bulgaria, the ibex. Gary has the incredible chance to try shooting down one of the single quite old and defined to be shot down ibexes that were reintroduced more than 70 years ago into the Bulgarian mountains. Ibexes. These virtuoso climbers love the almost vertical mountainous regions where they are untouchable by all predators, since they could see from afar the lower slopes and meadows. The hunting march was foretelling a heavy tour until making it to their favorite rocky tops. Gary's task was not easy at all. He was about to be looking for a needle in a haystack, even in a dozen haystacks. Nevertheless, the good news was that hunting guides had been observing the animals in the last 4 to 5 months, and they knew in which haystack Gary could look for his 1-meter needle. You could see the alpine ibex at an altitude from 2,000 to 4,600 meters in the European Alps. In the 80s of the 20th century, alpine ibexes were imported in Bulgaria from Sweden, and these were being disseminated around the Musala and Botev summits. They got successfully adapted only in Rila, and there their numbers went up to 80 animals. Over the last communist years, almost all the animals were killed by poachers, and only single families moved to another high mountainous localities. The ibexes usually go grazing early in the morning and at dusk, whereas during the rest of the day they doze hiding in the rocky niches at great altitude with good visibility of the surrounding area. They feed on high mountainous grasses, shrubs, moss, lichen, roots, sometimes with tree bark. For the right over the female harem, they get into the battles while hitting their heads with their large horns in the typical manner, standing up on their rear legs to gain better acceleration. This typical battling manner could be explained by the small space which the opponents usually have and the impossibility to get acceleration. Their life expectancy is around 15 to 20 years. What is typical about them is that when an animal gets too old, it loses its precious, as soft as rubber, hoof part, and it becomes impossible for it to climb the rocks. Then these animals usually fall prey of the wolves during the winter. The alpine ibex is a precious hunting trophy, and its meat is exceptionally delicious, and every part of its body, even the feces, were used in the past for preparing various cures and magical teas. In the regions in which it was initially disseminated, after almost 10 years of poaching destruction, in 2000 they counted only 14 animals, and until the end of 2004, only 3 remained. Because of the catastrophic species decline in 2005 in Stara Planina, in the region of the Baba summit, at 1,780 meters above sea level, another 40 ibexes were disseminated, and the last count done in 2007 that took place in the region of the second dissemination fills us with hope for the species' future with the 63 counted animals. You've just witnessed an incredible event. It turned out to be incredibly lucky because the forestry workers had marked that animal long ago because of its age.
Coming straight at me. And when if he turned, he was going to go behind all these trees.
Both veterans got lucky. Gary got his trophy and the ibex remained in the forest because it could no longer climb with its worn out and ill hooves. And instead of turning into food for the wolves, it was about to leave for the USA, and the money from shooting it down was about to help for protecting the other animals against poachers' attacks.
We'd come a long ways from the truck this morning. Professional hunter, whatever you want to call them in Bulgaria, I'm not quite sure what they are here, but they decided to take us high here and thought the animal was this way. Is alpine ibex, and it existed in Bulgaria like some 2,000 years ago, but then sort of became extinct, and over some 50 years ago was reintroduced again and has made a big comeback. Very big. It's sought after. It's considered a real trophy in all of Europe, and it's my first time to come for it. But we are in the Balkan mountains is where we're at. And my new friend here played such an important role, we would have never gotten them if it wasn't for all the team, the camera people, the people behind me, our guides. They have so far made this trip. Thank you. Bless your family. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are incredible people. Exciting.
Yeah. I think you're happy now, right?
I've been happy all the time. I've just been very nervous.
Yeah.
Nichols didn't have to shoot.
Good.
I shot through a little hole in the tree.
In the last week, while Gary was busy with tracking the ibex, the forest workers had placed the tent in such a manner that allows the fallow deer to get used to it. It was time to check whether out the tactics were successful. It seemed that Jana was about to help Gary once again in tracking the wounded fallow deer.
We're going on a recovery now. We have the dog, the same one that helped get the mouflon, and we're running out of daylight, but they feel it's right here, just over this hill here someplace. So let's hope this happened this morning. It's been a fantastic experience, and our host gal and owner has just done everything to help us succeed in every way possible that he could do with him and his guides, his trackers, his scouts, everything. We came down to the very last day here. We're supposed to leave very early, late tonight to catch a flight out of Sofia tomorrow morning. And this morning we're using the blind. We made a shot. It was about 50-55 meters, and the animal wouldn't stop walking. And it started to run away, and leading us twice now to recover.
That's the way it is when bow hunting. The results are only possible thanks to the joined efforts of the participants in that adventure. From the organizer and the hunter to the hunting dog, everyone with his share in the success of another adventure with safari season. Gary Bogner managed to take down a fallow deer once again, as well as reindeer and an ibex with his bow and arrows. Two years later, Gary visited Bulgaria once again after being invited by Sani, and it turned out to be successful once again after taking down the new world record of Balkan chamois with a bow and arrow.
Wow, it makes me feel alive. Nature does everything so right. Birds sing loudly for free, and trees clap their hands. Safari, let me be your company. Feel the excitement, feel the danger, share the adventure here.